What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. As always, I am Camtastic, and this is In Response, where every other week, three, sometimes four, sometimes zero friends gather around their desks to update you on the goings on in the CDH world and our personal journeys through the format. Joining me this week are my co-host Nico, aka Mexa Delight. How are you doing this week, Nico?
Not too bad, man. It's been like a week or two, I think, since we recorded anything. So excited to get some more content out there for all of our viewers.
Absolutely. And joining me is my other co-host, Julian the Magician MTG. How are you doing this week, Mr. Magician?
I'm doing good, doing good. Just got back from a pretty packed weekend. Took the dog and the wife to the beach and set up a new TV. Got to use the new surround system too, so it was awesome getting to get a live experience of the K-pop Demon Hunters.
That's awesome. Sounds like a great weekend. Then you're gonna have to rewatch our podcast on YouTube on your TV. Then listen to our
Definitely.
sweet sultry voices through those sweet 5.1 speakers.
Definitely.
Well, everybody watching, remember you can always tune in live on Twitch every other Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Or if you happen to miss out on the live show, don't sweat it. You can watch later on YouTube or give us a listen wherever you get your podcasts. But for now, it's time for the show. All right, everybody. So we are going to be talking about what are we talking about this week, Magician? We are talking about new players, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about intro to CEDH. So we got a couple talking points, but to kind of get us kicked off, I was thinking about migrating your play group into CDH from a casual perspective. So I know that we've been growing as our group recently. We started kind of with like two or three of us, and then we started getting people to migrate up, and now we've got like almost enough for 3 pods worth of CDH players.
I was gonna say at least 10, if not 12. Yeah, I feel like we get a solid 2 pods every time we're at the LGS of CDH, and occasionally that third one. And there's always one, maybe two people in that third pod that are like, oh well, I'll try, or I'll play my high power deck or something like that. And it's not terrible, but they're not quite necessarily even in the right mindset. And that's certainly something we're going to be talking about today. Is not only the deck, but the mindset that it takes to be in the CDH realm instead of the casual realm as well.
Absolutely. It was and with our journey personally, like with our personal journeys, we actually had like a blending of two groups. Like
Yeah.
Magician and Next to the Lights group was already like playing CDH, while my group was we actually came from modern players who started playing Commander, and then we just elevated our game to a point where we just wanted to play with the most powerful cards in the most competitive way. And then we had mutual friends. Me and
I
Julian were.
remember my first CDH pod.
I remember my first beer. And so we it's funny because I always followed the format because I always like competitive formats, just like I still follow modern. I like following them. But Julian was really the common ground there. Was me and Julian knew each other, and then forgot how, but we ended up getting back in contact and just kind of joined the two play groups together. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely Magician did the work on that one for sure. I remember like I was even kind of falling out of it a little bit. Our one LGS kind of stopped popping off with a bunch of people, and Magician was like, "Hey, here's this new group, this new restore. Come check it out." And then yeah, we definitely had a merging of several people for sure.
yeah, and the thing too is like with scratching the itch that you guys had in modern, I also had that too. Like I was very anti commander at the beginning of it all because I was that's a casual format. That's a casual format. I want to play a real format. And then CDH kind of came around, and we the our group with Mexi Delight and a couple of shout outs, Matt and Rob and Marco. Like we were all just constantly upping the power level of our decks, upping it, trying to one up each other, and then eventually we just got to a point where it's like, all right, well, we're pretty much at a C deck,
Hmm.
give or take a few cards and a budget, and so eventually we were just like, well, now let's just like start incorporating proxies, and we can and start looking at meta decks and things like that, and we kind of went from there. So now we're doing CDH, and we got a lot of us doing it. So it's cool that we were able to merge and grow all together.
So what were like one of the top one or two talking points with some of the guys that were a bit hesitant to take that step up to CDH? I mean, what do you think convinced them to really give it a shot? And then clearly once they gave it a shot, they've been hooked. But what were those couple things you talked about right away?
Your deck list. Honestly, it was either whether or not you want to branch out and try something new in your comfortable play style, or do you want to just upgrade what you have and then go from there and like be in the scene with what you're comfortable with and then learn about other decks. And a lot of them were really gung ho about trying something new. Like for example, Marco. Marco was consistently someone who liked to play kind of like big stompy stuff. He has a pretty good Naya dinosaur deck, so we offered him Itali,
Yeah.
and he hasn't put it down. So that was one of them. Cam, what did you do to get like Ed and Tay to get into it?
It was really one big thing was the time length of the games. Was we'd spend all Friday night, getting together, playing 4 or 5, 6 hours, and we'd get a couple games in. And we noticed the higher level that we started playing, the more games we were jamming in. They were going a lot quicker. We weren't waiting until turn 4 or 5 or 6 to play things. And so then gradually we just started playing with more and more powerful cards as far as playing with fetches, shocks, untap things, and faster mana rocks. And then what comes along with that is you're playing your commanders out faster, and we didn't want to wait to have our commanders out with protection. Like we felt you should be able to play your commander, and we all started playing fierce and swat because we want to be able to protect our commanders. It's slows the game down having to wait until you can hold up counter magic and your commander. So we went from going to fast mana to going to free spells, and that's to me that's what CEDH really that's what distinguishes CEDH from everything else is speed and efficiency are like the two things that make competitive formats in my mind.
Sure.
So once you start optimizing for those two things, then you've got CDH. And we did unfortunately lose like a couple people that we normally play with. They kind of just fell out because they liked playing bigger mana as far as like waiting until turn 10 and like just
I
doing
want
big
my
things.
8 mana commander, right?
Yeah, battle cruiser, splashy spells.
And that is one thing that sucks because we do we do still see them at the shop and hang out with them, and we'll jam a game here and there. But it comes down to, it's like if I stop playing a certain video game, like, sometimes you just kind of leave the homies behind if I start playing something else besides Call of Duty and they're still playing it. It just kind of happens. Like you can't have everybody stick with you through all your hobbies for your entire life. So as long as, you stay in contact and stay friends with them, it happens. It happens.
Yeah. So for those viewers who feel like you want to start stepping up to getting into CDH, and you have a play group or a pod that is a little apprehensive, talk to them about trying to go faster, and start talking to them in a manner that which you can talk to them about a deck that's similar to what they're doing that's already in the meta.
Yeah. Another way I think about it is what colors do people enjoy, right? Because each color is kind of geared towards something different. White, is that token life gain type of thing. Red is fast and burn and direct damage, hasty creatures. Blue is control, graveyard, or black is graveyard and recursion. Green is kind of ramp and stompy things. So depending on somebody's casual playstyle, there's almost always a CDH deck that fits that same playstyle. It's just, as we've been talking about, speeds it up much faster, maybe more or potentially less interactive. But I always like to ask people, what colors do you enjoy? Why do you enjoy those? What's your play style?
Absolutely.
What kind of decks do you enjoy to play? And then toss out a couple CDH decks that are akin to that.
Yeah, and so that's a perfect kind of segue into our next one, and it's where to find deck lists because you can't really talk to somebody about a deck that you don't even know or don't play. So you got to utilize your resources. And so one that we use a lot is EDH Top 16.
So sorry,
It's
before we move on, I actually kind of wanted to
oh
interject really quick. I had one
yeah,
one
in
point.
response, you mean?
Yeah, in response to your moving phases
Yeah,
onto the next topic.
moving
There you
to
go. There you
the
go.
next topic.
Gang Orca in chat did bring up proxies, and that was going to be my next point with our group. Was once we started getting the fast mana and the free spells that were very expensive, some people were getting priced out. We didn't want that, so we found that everybody's proxy friendly, and we'll touch more on proxies later when we talk about acquiring cards and such. But I think that's a big point that everybody should bring up first and foremost in the CDH community is listen, we know these cards are expensive. We are okay with proxies. We just want to play CDH. Like that's
Yep.
just what we want to do.
Yeah. Even in like the couple con events I've been to, so I've been to 2 Magic cons and 1 Channel Fireball when they still existed. I was at first hesitant to like sit down in a CDH pod with people I'd never met before and be like, "Hey, I've got some proxies in this deck. Like, is that okay?" And every single person I sat down to play with didn't care. They were like, as long as they're not like marked cards type of thing, then it's absolutely all right. And so yeah, back to our chat member here. Stores are even becoming more friendly with proxies, especially even in a tournament setting because it brings more players.
Permanent?
Biggest thing you gotta, yeah, little
Where the
slip
hell
of
is
the tongue there.
that?
Non-land tournament.
Tournament, yeah. Yeah, as
Non-land
long as it's
permanent?
not like marked cards, proxies are okay. And like we said, we'll get to a segment later on how to get proxies like that. Because a lot of my decks, actually, I still print proxies and like cut them out and put them in sleeves, so they're a little bit thicker than normal cards. So those wouldn't be legal in a tournament.
Yeah,
So
same.
we all right. So your response has resolved. We ready to move on to move phases and go into deck lists?
Yes, you may
Yeah.
change phases now.
All right. So moving on to deck lists. So like I said previously before I was interrupted with a response, we utilize top 16 because that is probably the largest deck database for competitive events. It shows the deck creator, the name of the deck without any sort of nicknames, so it's easy to locate the names of the decks. And then the placing, the size of the tournament, and there's a lot of filters. It's a really cool website. Not
Hey,
sponsored, unfortunately, but
sorry, just to
what's up?
clarify, you're talking edhtop16.com, right?
Yes, yeah, EDH
Okay.
top 16
And for
and
our
.com.
viewers, we'll put all these websites and links and stuff in the comments below for you to follow up as you're watching it later on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I put it up
definitely.
in on the screen right now. So viewers, you guys, like you said, you guys
Nice.
will see it to
Cool.
be familiar with it.
And so you can find a bunch of deck lists. Most deck lists are going to be linked to that creator's Moxfield account or their what is the other one? Top Deck. Top Deck.
Architect. Oh yeah.
Top Deck accounts. I'm noticing that a lot of people are moving over to Top Deck because that's where the tournaments are being organized through. So people will, at the start of tournaments, they'll upload their decks into that. Honestly, I prefer Moxfield. I'm pretty sure that's pretty unanimous within us three plus our play group. We all use Moxfield. But Moxfield also has filters that you can find deck lists in there too. So
I'm going to
what do you
respond
do?
to that one more time because I just updated our YouTube profile and put all 3 of our Moxfield profiles in there as links. So any of our followers, viewers, you guys can find our decks on Moxfield right now as well.
Yep. And so you guys can comment, ask questions, fully engage with those deck lists. If you guys have anything that you guys wanted to question about our inclusions or anything like that, we'd love to answer questions and talk about our decks because they're labors of love. We really enjoy our decks. We spend a lot of time on them. So, anything else you guys have on like where to find deck lists?
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't mention it, but the CDH decklist database, that's the one that I've used the most. It's probably not as up to date as the other 2 that you talked about, but it definitely has like all of the deck lists. It has old meta stuff as well, has Brewer's Corner, Brewer's List as well.
Hmm.
But that's CDH-decklist-database.com. And again, that'll be in the comments down below for you guys to look up. But that's where I go kind of to find some new inspiration and then use the other resources. And then, of course, what's the other one? EDH Rec as well. That, I got to shout out to EDH Rec. They've got good stuff to help just look at all kinds of other deck lists as well. And you can sort and organize by all kinds of stuff. I always like to sort by salt level myself
Oh yeah,
and build decks with a high salt level.
yeah. I
We'll,
usually
we'll come
sort
back
by
to
budget.
Okay, sure. And I know we're going to talk about saltiness here in a little bit later as well.
Yeah. One of the things I like about the CDH decklist database is that it has links to that. Well, first of all, they're primers. Every decklist that's on there has a primer. And for those of you that don't know, if you go to, I'll bring it up right here on screen, but if you go to Moxfield, there is a section under decklist. I know a lot of people don't see this, but there is a section underneath decklist that says primer. So next to each deck list, if it has a primer right here, it's going to say primer. And that'll take you to, well, I guess I'll explain what a primer is. It's a description of the deck, what it does, what it wants to do, lines, combo lines, card inclusions, all kinds of things, depending on whatever the author wants to put in it. So Moxfield has been the best resource as far as sharing decks. What I use to build decks the most, honestly, is if you have access to, and if anybody has me on Discord, you can ask me and I can give you an invite to it. It's called the Commander Library, and it's just an accumulation or an accumulation of just all the Discord servers. So that's literally all it is. It's just a bunch of links to Discord servers. So you find what deck you're playing or what colors, depending on how the Discord is separated. Jump in that Discord. Almost every single Discord, well, literally every single Discord I've ever seen, has a spot to post your deck list. So start by posting your deck list there. Don't be afraid to ask for comments, help, and suggestions. And that's going to be the living place of your deck. That's going to be where new cards are discussed, where brews are coming along, where people are talking about old cards that might be viable.
Yes. I was just going to say, anytime spoilers come out, everybody's immediately talking about spoilers for whatever specific deck list Discord you're in. It's, I'm in the Atraxa Discord, and same thing popped up for a lot of the recent cards that have been coming out.
Yeah. Same thing with I'm in the Tentacle Sushi one. So,
and
but kind of going. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to add one more resource that I know a lot of new players are using, and I discovered it after I was already a player, but learncdh.com is fantastic. And that is done by, I believe, Wounded Satellite. And Evan is doing a fantastic job breaking down. Like, it's wonderful. This is the best resource I could recommend. Even right here, it says how to choose a deck. You choose your archetype, choose by recommendation, choose by color. It gives you more popular command. It just gives you everything. So this is the best place, honestly, to start. And from there, just have at it. Like all these resources that we've given you, it's the internet, and Magic players love talking about their decks. So just find it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember, sorry, Magician, to cut you off, but I remember when I started playing in 1998, like internet was not a place to really go to find all that stuff. It was, you could find like super metagame things, but nothing generalized like this. It didn't really help just like the wide population of your standard players or anything like that. But yeah, you can find all kinds of stuff on the internet right now, and so yeah, here's what we named 3, maybe 4 different websites now for people to go to. So
and these
really
resources,
easy to. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry to cut you off. These resources never get old.
Yeah.
Even now, we still use them to research other decks, so we know how to play against them.
Yep, exactly. So if you're the one in your play group that's ready to step up your guys' game, I don't recommend starting with the masses. I say pinpoint your weakest link and focus down on them and be like, them. But I mean, like, hey, I feel like you want to step up your game a little bit. Let's look at some decks, and that way it'll start a domino effect.
Yeah, that's true. That's how we got Camtastic here.
Absolutely. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is another reason to jump into CDH. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place, but it reminded me when you brought it up was the Rule Zero conversation. Is you don't have to have one. At CDH, we're all just trying to play the best cards at the highest level, so I don't have to sit down and tell you my deck is X powerful and has Y amount of cards in it. Just sit down, say I'm playing CDH, and let's jam a game.
Yeah. So
This is
Go
probably a
ahead.
good opportunity to talk about the no salts aspect, actually, because the rule zero, I feel like that plays directly into it. So
Yeah, I want to preface that portion with just a little story that I heard today. So I'm going through the backlog of all of the video or all the podcasts from the Howling Salt Mine, and there was a submission about a pod. This player sits down at the table, and they're all talking about this is all pre-bracket systems, back where every deck was a 7, and they sit down, they have their kind of conversation. This guy's playing a mono white deck, and it's mono white with equipment, and he described it as on turn 7 he has a Sun Titan in play and a Sigarda's Aid, and he attacks with the Sun Titan. He gets the trigger, returns a sort of fire and ice into play. Sigarda's Aid auto equips it, and then he flashes in grafted exoskeleton, and and then it auto equips to the Sun Titan, which is lethal through poison. And the player across from him goes to block, and then he scoops his cards up and goes, "What the fuck, dude? I thought we were playing bracket 7." Or I thought we were playing power level 7. God. And he like picks up his stuff and just walks out. Like that's the kind of stuff that you're going to get when you're playing casual, not when you're playing CEDH.
yeah,
So no salt. There's I mean there will be a little bit of salt, but like for the most part, you don't have to have that rule zero conversation, because what was that guy going to do? Tell someone like, oh yeah, I play Sigarda's Aid and Sword of Fire and Ice and grafted exoskeleton. So watch out. I might be able to get you guys on turn 8 with this random combo. Like
convoluted 4-card combo type of thing.
yeah,
That you
and
had
it's
to
not even a
draw
combo. It
into.
just exactly like you don't get that in CDH really. If you're
Yeah.
gonna knock someone out, they're gonna be like, well, yeah, you got me. I don't have anything.
Yeah, as long as
Yep.
they're a good sport, and if they raise a stink about it, then like there's just no preventing that in the first place. That person is just that way.
Yeah. So let's talk about salt a little bit more. Like what does it mean to be salty, in a game? I remember a couple years ago, Magician, when you and I started playing, and there were a few times where, and this was before Orcish Bowmaster, but you would, and I don't remember how, but you would somehow like kill off one or two of my mana dorks and like shut me off of a color or something.
Sounds about right.
You still do that to this day. That's for damn sure. But back then, a couple years ago, I was like getting really pissed. Just like, man, why would you do that? You're knocking me out. Like I'm behind a couple turns now. I can't actually play the game or anything like that. But that's like if anybody's ever feeling like irritated, mad, angry, angsty, why'd somebody do that? They just shut me down. I can't do anything. Those feelings are all like attributing to being salty, right? And that salt level. And what we're talking about here for all of our viewers is, when you're in CDH, mindset and meta, you just have to accept the fact that those things are going to happen and that you
Yep.
can't get irritated about it. People are playing to win,
Yep.
and they're going to do
Optimal
anything
plays.
they can. Yep, optimal plays, anything that is possible to put yourself in the lead and put people behind you. So, taking out mana dorks, eliminating one or two colors from somebody's multicolor. So, like killing a Birds of Paradise or a Noble Hierarch or a Delighted Halfling if you can do 2 damage to it.
Yeah.
All of those are ways to set people back and put you ahead for sure.
I did
Yeah,
it the other
Cam,
day.
didn't I like a couple weeks ago like turn 2 Force of Vigor, like you and Ed pretty much like out of the game?
I don't think it was
on
me, but it was
Was it not
I
you?
was in the game. I remember that.
Okay,
Because you
because
had
I
the
think I took out
opportunity. It was like a mana vault and a soul ring, and you were like
yeah,
last in turn order, which makes
Yep.
sense because you're from seat 4, and so you're trying to level the playing field.
yeah.
I did exactly what Nico described on Friday night. I'm playing Fire Magic in my build, which instant speed, 1 red, deal 1 damage to everything.
I was in that game.
Yeah,
That was brutal.
I took out 2 of Nico's dorks, a Kinnon's dork, and somebody else with, I think Lotho or something with it, and it sucked. And I even apologized for it. I'm like, look, guys, I'm sorry. This is just the play. It makes the most sense right now, and everybody's just like, it sucks, but you're not wrong. Like,
It
Yeah.
it put you right back at level playing field with the rest of us, and didn't you end up
Yep.
winning that game as well?
I think I did. No, maybe not. I haven't been winning a lot lately, but it was still like you said, it got me in it. It leveled the playing field. Everybody else was 2 or 3 mana ahead of me, and it brought me
Yeah.
back down to earth. I know I was playing Grixis at the time, so I didn't have the dorks and the ramp and stuff. And yeah, sometimes it hurts, man. Life hurts. It sucks. Getting your cradle blown up sucks. Especially like getting it exiled with Mycospawn or something. Like, but
Yeah.
that's life.
One of the
So,
things I get saltiest about these days is pact of negation, and like
mm,
needing to play a pact at some point in a turn cycle for whatever reason. And then by the time it comes back to my upkeep, where I've got to pay for the pact trigger, my dorks or rocks are gone, and then I can't pay for the trigger, and then I lose the damn game. That has
yep.
definitely happened to me 3 times in the last month or so, and both of you have definitely attributed to that. So, screw you guys, but
Yeah,
it happens.
little fist bump cam.
Got 'em. Dirty attracts the players.
Yeah.
Greedy man of bases.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's the way she goes, man. It's the way she goes. We're all just out here trying to
Um,
win.
so I got kind of I think I developed a little segue there. Mana bases. So when you're getting into CDH, we all know the cards are expensive. And so this kind of does a double segue and proxies, which we touched on, and also what cards to invest in. So when it comes to investing into cards, you can totally be someone who goes on to Moxfield or utilizes a couple different websites. Like I use printingproxies.com. He also has a Instagram. He's really good at shipping. He's really quick. He's in California. I believe he's in SoCal. So if you're in the area, you can get your cards pretty quickly within like 2 to 3 days. Most of the time, proxies are anywhere from like 50 cents to like $1, depending on how many you get. All different websites are different. Sometimes they offer foils at a premium. Sometimes they offer special foils at an even higher premium. But the typical thing is the more you buy, the cheaper the cards get. And so you can always customize it to different printings that are magic related already, or sometimes you can upload your own art, or sometimes the websites have generated art that they have gotten from other people who've bought from them. But cards to invest in, I mean, I'm sure we can all talk about different types, but I want to say if you want to be one of those people that likes to collect the cards, like how all three of us are, we love our foils, we love our judge promos, things like that. I'll start off with your tutors. Things to invest in tutors, like your demonic tutor, something like your worldly tutor, your enlightened tutor, things like that. There's always nice versions, but there's also some cheap versions too. So investing in what are called staples. Everyone knows what staples are, but there are certain CEDH staples. Tutors are a big one.
Yeah, the one drop tutors these days, there's plenty of reprints of them. You don't have to be spending a whole lot of money just to get like the original printing or anything like that. There's foils and non-foils and alt arts and old border and new border and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I remember when Worldly Tutor, you pretty much had just the Mirage option and that was it. Same with Mystical and Enlightened Tutor, and now there's like, I don't know, 6 to 8 or more different prints of them as well.
Something
So
like that. Yeah, there's a shit ton of them now.
And
and everybody's got different budgets as well, so don't worry about banging out the flashy stuff just because that's what other people do. Just get what you can, and you're playing with it, and it's
Proxy
as
the rest.
yep, proxy it for sure. What were
yeah,
you
and
saying,
to
Cam?
to piggyback off of what Nico was saying was you kind of this is all kind of piggybacks off each other. You're going to start as you do more, especially when you find your colors. As you do more research on the CDH decks, you're going to start seeing more common grounds. You're going to see a lot of Esper Sentinels. You're going to see a lot of Force of Wills. You're going to see a lot of Demonic Tutors. So that's going to give you an idea of where to start. That's also going to give you an idea of what to look out for reprints, because I'm sure as anybody who's been into Magic notice recently they've been reprinting cards that are outside of standard but in standard sets. And those are meant for formats like CDH and like Commander. One great
Mhm.
example was Final Fantasy. They blatantly reprinted most of the CDH commanders in Final
Yeah.
Fantasy.
Yeah, the partner pairs.
So keep an eye out for those kinds of things and just make mental notes. Tutors often get reprinted. Lands often get reprinted. We just had Shock lands reprinted again, which
Mhm.
kind of leads me to my biggest advice is invest in real estate. I
Mhm.
bought play sets of fetches and shocks when we first started playing, and I've been able to build almost every single deck I've wanted ever since. I throw
Yeah.
maybe, granted, CDH decks are very expensive, but when I was building commander decks, I'd be like, oh, I want to build this. Throw $40 at it, got a deck. So
Yeah.
when you're proxying, do the same thing. Order yourself, depending on your budget, maybe one of each duel, one of each shock, one of each fetch. And then
Yep.
as you go through your CDH journey and go from deck to deck to deck, like some of us do,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to make what you want.
Yeah.
Right.
I know a lot of people, just over the years, I've talked to people and they're pretty turned off by CDH because they feel like they need to have the real cards, especially the OG dual lands, right? The
Mhm.
Tundra, the Savannah, the Taiga, the Underground Sea, and so forth. And, listen to us guys, like, you don't need those real cards. Like, that, it's a badge of honor if you can slam down your real Underground Sea that's a near mint card and you spent whatever, how many hundreds of dollars on it. But that's not needed just to play the format. There are plenty of people that are proxying those as well. I personally have one of each, but I don't even play them unless it's in a tournament setting. I definitely play with the proxies because I don't want to be playing with these nice old expensive cards. So, even if you own them, the proxies are still perfectly fine to get. But definitely agree with Camtastic. Invest in real estate. Get your lands, the shock lands, the dual lands. Those are going to be those will help you play any kind of deck you want in the future for sure.
Yeah. What other proxies or investments would you say, Nico, that
You know,
that new players can get into?
yeah, just some like other generic staple cards. So draw engines, Esper Sentinel, Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, even the One Ring right now. Things that create treasures, so Lotho or Smothering Tithe. Maybe depending on your colors, like if you're a blue player, get your counter magic, get your Force of Will, your mana drain. That's another pricey one up there. But again, there's a lot of prints of those. Your free counter magic like Fierce Guardianship, or if you're playing red, the Deflecting Swat and the Underground or the Underworld Breach. I know we talked about we could do an episode just on the red cards, right? Because red's
Yeah.
not too big these days. There's probably a good 10, maybe 15 red cards. But yeah, the counter magic, the interaction, removal spells, ways to interact with people's big plays. Or even more importantly, we talked about lands, but mana rocks. Get your fast mana, your zero drop
Exactly.
rocks, your
Yeah.
Mox Opal, your Mox Amber, your Mox Diamond,
Chrome
your mana,
Mox.
yeah, Chrome Mox, Mana Vaults, Grim
Yeah.
Monolith, all your fast mana rocks,
Jeweled
Talis.
Lotus. Mana Crypt. Oh,
Sad face, right?
Right.
But even
yeah.
talismans, certain talismans, 2 mana, 2 color talismans, it can be even pricey if you're going for the original foils and stuff like that. So, or the etched foils and stuff. But just get a basic non-foil one of each, and you're good to go for all kinds of decks. So, mana rocks are another big aspect of just CDH staples for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be tempting to buy your big flashy cards, I know it's not played in CDH, but just for like a casual perspective, like doubling season, like you're going to want to buy this because it's a big, splashy, powerful card,
Yeah.
but it's only going to go in token decks or counters decks. So you're really
Right.
narrowing yourself down. And with,
Niche. Yeah,
yeah,
they're very niche.
exactly. And with that 40, 50, $60, whatever doubling season is at now, you can get some lands, 3 fetches, some shocks, something.
You might you might be able to proxy out an entire deck for that.
That's true.
For
Yeah,
real.
we're
Yeah.
we're getting decks for around $30 to $50, an entire deck proxied with great quality proxies that, like, if they weren't marked on the back, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference most of the time.
I mean, I think that's a great plug. We've got plenty of people at our local meta LGS that have every single card in their deck as a proxy, right? They just
Yep.
go to these websites, they plug in the deck list, and they order 100 proxies, and they're just playing with an all proxy deck. And you can't tell the difference unless you look at the back, right? Or it's got like a weird art or something like that. But it does not matter at all.
Yeah. And so with proxies, where do you guys get your proxies from?
Well, I'm the old man of the group. Okay, so I still manually make my proxies. I will go to Scryfall, copy the image, put it on Excel. And for those who are curious, the exact sizing that you need is height of 3.9 inches and a width of 2.8 inches. Print it out, cut it out with scissors, and throw it in the sleeves. So honestly, unless somebody has given me a proxy or I just happen to like stumble upon an easy way to buy it from somebody, all of my proxies are paper proxies in the sleeves that I've printed and cut out myself.
Do you use a
But
protractor to figure that out, old man?
I love the
it's
whole paper proxies.
a little bit of trial and error to find the right size, but I literally have an Excel file saved off to the side on my desktop called Proxy Printer that I can just, copy paste the images and auto size them, and it's super easy. You can put 8 proxies to a page, print them out. It's a little time consuming, but I'm somebody who likes to just kind of, do that kind of manual labor, if you will. It just gives me something to do. I'm interacting with my cards and just
Yeah, he treats them like
my
those number color books too. He uses his 64 box Crayola crayons,
exactly.
color by number.
Yeah. But now that we're getting more into the tournament scene, I definitely got to have proxies that are not paper because it's that paper adds an extra layer. They can be considered marked cards. So I will be, going to one of these websites we've mentioned to buy some of the proxies. Again, like I mentioned, I don't like playing my original duels and reserved list cards and stuff like that, or even the judge promos, depending on which ones they are. So I'll be getting some proxies to be able to play with those and not the real ones.
So in response, I'd like to interject with, if you do, this is from a judge perspective. So it is okay to have paper proxies.
Judge's corner
However,
time.
yep, judge's corner. So if you do want to have paper proxies, and that is how you can, that's what you can afford for a tournament to play. You can do that. However, the entire deck must be uniform. They must all be paper proxies because, like Nico was saying, if there's half the deck is in paper, half the deck is real, or half the deck is pre-printed proxies from a website, those paper proxies are going to be a little thicker, thus being marked cards. No malicious intent by the player, but to a judge's eyes and a judge's perspective, those are considered marked cards, thus making the cards ineligible to be played with. Because if you are trying to cheat, you will have an advantage because you'll know that if a card is raised a little bit higher than a normal card on the top of your deck, you know that it's going to be a proxy, whether or not it's a random proxy or it's all of your lands that are in these paper proxies. Then you'll know for sure that's a land on top. I should do some sort of shuffle effect and get it off the top, or I know that I can mill that top card with some sort of effect, and I know that I'm going to be drawing a real card underneath, and it won't be a land. So
Quick side note to add to that. I remember being in it wasn't a pre-release, but I think it was like an RCQ a year or two ago, and somebody had a deck check and got called out that all of their basic lands were foil and they happened to be curled like a Pringle.
I
And so they
remember
needed
this.
to swap out their lands for non-foils because they were flats and then would no longer be marked. So for those of you who do enjoy playing with your shiny stuff, make sure they are not curled or that every single one of them is curled so
Yeah,
they're not marked. But yeah,
that's not something to strive for, though.
right. But that's another pain point as well. So the older foils, not a problem. The things within the last few years, I'm sure a lot of you are aware, can be very pringled for sure. But that's
Yeah.
another thing to be aware of, especially if you're playing in tournament play.
Yeah, I'm all
So
for sorry to interrupt you again. I'm all for
no,
doing paper proxies. We would send them to like Walgreens or whatever, go get them cut out and stuff. Even Office Depot will cut them for you. The Excel sheets where you lost me there, Nico. The Excel for
Trust me,
viewers.
I know not a lot of people, if really anybody does that. I've told other people that and they're like, "What? You do what now for your proxies?" Yeah.
If you go to
Microsoft
mtgprint.com,
Paint.
you can type in the card and it'll pop up for you. You can type in how many you want, and it'll let you download a PDF that has 9 per sheet. Because I think the exact specifications are 2.5 and 3.5. And so it fits 9 per sheet, and then you can put cut lines and cut them like that. The only reason I know that is because I've been researching what size we need to make the playing cards for when we do our tokens.
Sure.
Gotcha. Ooh, tokens.
Those might be down the pipeline, viewers.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we got a couple. What's the word? Not proxies, but what's the
Like
what is
almost
the
like
name of
business
that?
cards. Like,
Yeah, but like prototypes. There we go.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
We've got some prototypes right now, and so we'll be refining those, getting some cooler images, and it'll have our QR codes on them too, so you can spread the word.
Definitely.
But all right, so
Did that cover it for all the proxy spots?
I think so.
I do want to plug, sorry, NPC
Yeah.
Card Fill. They are another good alternative proxy site. You have to put in a little bit more work because you have to put the front and the back of the card. But
Say it one more time.
mpcfill.com, makeplayingcards.com.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm going to be getting our proxies made, because there is more customizability on there, but you do have to put in a little bit more work. They're also cheaper. They go for about 10 cents a card, which is significantly cheaper. It's coming from China, so you do have to pay a little bit in shipping, and I think they tacked a tariff on now, but I'm not sure. But it still does come out cheaper. I prefer going to printing proxies because I like supporting the local LA guy, and they come quicker. But MPC Fill is another option for viewers out there.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Do you guys get that reference? No, is that just me?
No.
Viewers,
Brooklyn
Yeah, I was
Nine-Nine.
wondering
viewers, if you get that, yeah, thank you, Cam. Someone cultured.
what was it?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, that's definitely not up my alley. No. Like I
uh,
said, I'm the old guy of the group. My bad.
so yeah,
It's
Grandpa, it's almost time
also,
for
have
bed.
you guys
It's
seen the
almost
new
7
episode
o'clock.
of Hogan's Heroes?
I was gonna say, isn't MASH on in 15 minutes?
Stop it. I'm nowhere near that age.
Nick at
Although I
Night.
do know what MASH is. I used to watch it with my parents growing up a little
I
bit.
do like me
but,
some MASH.
yeah.
I know it from school where you used to play with all the like the different categories, and it was like, who are you gonna marry, how many kids you're gonna have, what kind of car you're gonna drive. No,
Just talking the game of life, dude.
Yeah, I think you're mixing something up here.
no. It was MASH because it was mansion, apartment, shack, and house. Those were like that's what MASH stood for, and so you'd have to you'd have someone like write the whole thing out, and then in a square or whatever, you would like either do tick marks, and then you tell that person to stop, and then from that number of tick marks you would just start going down the list of everything, and crossing everything out, and then kind of like Mad Libs. It was kind of like Mad Libs in elementary school.
This is not how to get people into CDH chat. No Mad Libs.
All right, so
Anyway.
I think last thing we had to talk about for this episode here was how do you learn to play your new CDH deck, right? Because there's
Yes.
probably at least one, if not two or even three combo lines. How do you tutor for them? How do you set up for it? So, guys, in your experience, whether you've been playing your deck for 100 plus games or you're just putting something new together, what's the best way to learn your new deck?
Play it.
Play it. Honestly, you can do a couple test hands at home. You can utilize Moxfield. Moxfield has a feature on there where you can actually do basically a tabletop simulator, and you can run your hand through there, put the cards out onto the battlefield, draw cards, tutor, make tokens, all of that stuff. But just getting out and utilizing Spell Table, but getting out into your locals, playing with your friends, and if you don't really have a local game store where it's close to you, you can always use Spell Table, and a webcam.
So, shameless plug, we're going to be starting a new sub-series here on our channel of That's a Combo. Camtastic just published our first one today here on the Underworld Breach LED Brain Freeze combo. So we'll be picking some of the more popular combos to do these little shorts with. Feel free to leave some comments and tell us what you guys would like us to do. But that's one way. Is there are plenty of videos online to walk you through step by step on the combos. Definitely agree with these guys. Just play your deck, get out there, play with people. But the caveat I want to throw out there is it's very common, at least in my experience, for people to be playing a somewhat convoluted combo. The Underworld Breach Brain Freeze LED combo is a good example here, where all of a sudden somebody's like presenting the pieces, and then the rest of the table is just scooping. They're like, "Oh, he's got the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just let's call it here." Well, as a new player, that doesn't help you learn the combo. So
Right.
sometimes you got to have the courage to say, "Hey, hold on, like, cool, thanks for giving me the win here, but actually, can I play this out? Right? Can you just like hang with me for a couple minutes so I can play this out?" Another couple that come to mind is I play food chain, so some people don't necessarily know the food chain thing right away. Even like Basalt Monolith, Mirage Mirror, and a Kinnan deck can be a little confusing.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that I think takes the cake is anything Krark related, anything where people are
Oh
flipping
boy.
coins for Manual Storm. As a Krakashima player, so many times I just got the pieces on the board, and people are like, "Ah, we'll just scoop. You got it, man." And I'm like, "Well, no, let me do the thing here so I can like prove to myself I know what I'm doing and prove
Mm-hmm.
to you that I actually win the game, right?"
Yeah.
But don't just let people scoop right away unless you're confident you already know what you're doing. Play it out a
Yeah.
little bit, at least a few times.
Yeah. Definitely. Being able to execute your combo is going to give yourself the confidence, as well as give your opponents the confidence that you know what you're doing and that you more or less deserve to be sitting at the table playing this high level game,
Yeah.
because Magic is complicated, and now to throw a competitive nature into it, it just takes it to a whole nother level. And just saying like, oh, I have my Eternal Witness snap combo, I can just present infinite mana. Some people will say, okay, yeah, you got it, but the right opponent should say, okay, what are you gonna do with it?
Now what, right? Show me your next card. That's what I always
Exactly.
do
Show me your
is once
moves.
somebody's got yeah, once
Yeah.
somebody's got the infinite mana in their deck in hand, I'm still not scooping personally. I'm like, show me your win con. Show me what you're
Yeah.
gonna do to actually close the game. And whether they actually like play it versus just literally show me the cards. Pretty much for me, as soon as they show me, I'm like, all right, you got the game. Good GG,
hmm
right?
Yeah, and it's something that we try to do actively in our play groups, because I feel like for a little while we've been getting a little lax on some of the guys, and we've been saying, "Oh yeah, no, you've got it. You've got A plus B. Well, let's scoop." But I at least I have been asking everybody to tell me, okay, yep, you got A plus B, but A plus B is just infinite mana, or A plus B is infinite draw. Now what?
Yeah.
What's going to actually end the game? And whether you, like what Nico was saying, whether you show it to me or actually demonstrate it, that would be fine. But questioning it is what a good opponent and a good friend would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly, for learning decks, I've been pushing it this whole episode, but Discord is just a huge resource. Just ask people who know how to play the deck. I am currently coaching 3 people on Yoshi Thrust because
Nice.
they reached out on Discord and said, "Hey, I noticed you're active in this Discord and posted a lot of tournament reports. I'm having trouble playing this deck because of this. My hands are questionable or whatever. Can you give me some insight?" And like any other Magic player, I am ecstatic to help them. I think it's so cool that they want my advice on how to play a deck that I put a lot of time and effort into. And I guarantee you, anybody else that you ask is going to feel the same way. So ask
Yeah.
them, just ask people how you play it, and ask other people to show you combos.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because in my Grixis deck I'm playing LED, Breach, Brain Freeze, doesn't mean I'm the only one. There are tons of other decks that are playing LED, Brain Freeze. And so
Mhm.
if I see their loops and how their decks do it, one, I'm gonna learn how to beat that deck, and two, I'm gonna learn how to play mine better.
Right.
Even like just the other day, like I was comboing off, and Julian, a magician, was watching me, and I was trying to dig my way with the breeze collar, Boro breeze collar, digging for an out. And in watching me finish my combo, he learned about lines that you can do as far as like, oh, Thrasios is putting in tapped lands, return those tapped lands to keep going and keep churning through your deck. And it's something
That's pretty
while,
badass.
thank you. It was something while we play different decks, we have common cards in those decks, those three cards in particular, Thrasios, Abora Breeze Collar, and Gaia's Cradle. And so he learned something from a completely different deck just by watching and asking questions.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off that too, you releasing the video with Brain Freeze, LED, and Underworld Breach. There's different variations of that too. Maybe you're not in blue, maybe you're just red black, and now you don't have access to Brain Freeze. However, you can still utilize Wheel of Fortune. Exactly, you can use Wheel of Fortune,
Grinding
or you
Station.
can use Grinding Station. So there's different, as people like to say, but I'm not particularly fond of it. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and Underworld Breach is one hell of a card, and so is LED. And there's a lot of ways to combo with both of those cards and have color restrictions that you like to play on. So, because a lot of people like Obnixilis, but Obnixilis doesn't play blue. So, what's the LED combo? And sometimes, if you are in blue, you get to have Brain Freeze. A lot of players who are on Simic, they'll utilize some combos to look out for. Some videos coming out, maybe some Eternal Witness and Snap combo with Gaia's Cradle, or an Aboro Breeze Collar line, where you could be doing that in Sultai like me, or in Bant like Cam. So it's just because you're in a certain color combination does not mean that you're going to have unique combos. So that's why it's always good to have proxies of cards that are going to be flexible in other decks.
Yep.
I feel like I kind of went full circle there.
No, you're all good.
And one thing I just wanted to add is if you're really serious about getting better at your deck, it takes effort. It really takes a lot of effort. I lost like 7 or 8 games in a row with Yoshi Thras, and I was talking to Magician about it, and he was like, just stick with it, man, just stick with it. And I stuck with it, and it's doing fantastic. And I just had to learn how to play it. I couldn't just pick up the deck and play it. And the way I really learned was just be mindful of your deck. Be mindful of the plays
Yep.
you're making. Like, we're all there to have a good time and joke around and stuff. I'm not saying don't have fun, but really pay attention to things. Pay attention to your hands and say, like, okay, I know this is a bad keep. It's okay to keep bad keeps sometimes because you got to learn what's a good keep, what's a bad keep. So keep some risky hands and
Yep.
take notes. Like, okay, am I going to draw a land in 2 or 3 turns? You know, what are my odds of drawing that? Like, I did that a lot, and it was when I increase it told me to increase my land count because I was mulliganing so hard. And
Mm.
then I stopped mulliganing so often to 5 and 6 because I increased my land count. So just be very mindful of what you're doing. If there's a card you're questioning, swap it out and be like, oh, I'm gonna keep in mind, what if it was this card now? Instead.
Yep.
So just be mindful of what you're doing, pay attention, take notes if you want, but it's just,
Don't forget your Yoshimaru triggers.
yeah, don't forget triggers. Don't forget triggers,
Don't
man.
forget triggers.
Who wants a 1/1 dog when you can have a 4/4 dog, right? I'm saying. So
Yep.
so
So speaking of tracking, Nico, do you want to talk about Play Nice?
Yeah, I mean, you guys turned me onto this website, Play Nice. I think it's just playnice.com. Again, we'll put
Yep.
it in the comments for people. But it's a great way to track your games. You can upload your deck list from Moxfield or wherever. Anytime you sit down in a pod, you can put the player order, the commanders you're playing. You select what player you are in seat order. You can track location of your games, so like whether you're at your LGS or you're in a tournament or you're at a con event. And yeah, thanks Cam for pulling it up there. So it tracks your wins, your losses, your draws, your number of games, your win percent. You can even put in what you mulliganed to and what your keeping hand was, like specifically the cards, and a lot of other features that I haven't even begun looking into yet. Quite honestly, you can track if it's a draw or not. You can put in notes if you were the first win attempt or the third win attempt. You can put in specific notes. So a lot of our local group has been starting to use this. Actually, we've even got a friend of ours who's doing a little bit of like a statistical study, I guess, if you will. He asked for access to people's Play Nice data, so that way he can start to, do some studies on most common commanders and cards and win rates and all that kind of stuff. So definitely a good tool to understand, are you actually winning games and how many are you winning? I think we've all agreed that the general win percent you should be going for is about 25%, right? If you're playing a CDH pod, 4 players, you want to be winning 1 out of every 4 games. If you can keep up a 25% win rate, you're doing pretty well. If you can break 30%, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
And any higher than that, then you're definitely kicking some ass out there for sure. So Play Nice, that's a good tracking tool for sure.
Yeah, just as a little example, I'm on my profile because on the free profile you can have 3 decks saved at any time, and so right now I'm on 73 games with Thrasios Tevesh Zot, and my win rate is 21.92%. And so that is overall 16. This is going to sound real bad, but it's 16 wins, 51 losses, and 6 draws. But that does come out to almost 22% win rate, which I'm pretty happy about. Some other things that it does give you information on is it gives you a color chart of your common matchups by frequency. I've played against, I don't know why, but the deck is like, I've played against this deck 37 times. Jesus. Thrasios and Yoshi Maru. I don't played against that deck 37 times. Jesus.
Damn.
37? Any Clarks
Yeah.
fans? 37?
Man, we play too much.
I did notice though, shout out to Andrew. I probably should play with him a little bit more. I've only got 2 games against him.
No.
But I've got like 25 against Kinnan, 19 against Atali, 18 against Marnius, 18 against Atraxa, 15 against Nadir Thras. And with our kind of smallish meta or play group, I can kind of pretty much pinpoint each person per pilot. But it's got win rate versus number of games, 21 game rolling win rate, best matchups. It gives you a percentage on those. A couple new ones is like most recent matchups. It has a breakdown of the win loss and who was in the pod. It shows your common MVP cards, your common MVP cards for all players. So it tracks if you put in those cards for those people you were playing against.
Yeah, just data.
It has
just tons of useful data.
Yeah, venues, all of that stuff. So I highly recommend it. And you can also go back and edit too. So one thing that we're doing to alleviate the time spent at the store is we take pictures of our hands of what we keep. And then we go back into Play Nice when we have some free time at home or whatever, and we input the cards at that time instead of doing it at the store.
Yep.
So,
all right, guys. Well, I think that's all our topics for today, unless you got any last items here.
No. Just be on the lookout for our YouTube, and we talked about learning how to play your deck, learn how to play combos. We're going to be doing some combo videos, just like Cam has started for us. And if you guys want any combos that you're interested in, put the cards in the comments, and we'll see if we can get them out to you guys as soon as we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what kind of content you'd like us to cover, and we'll do our best to do it all for you.
Absolutely. Magician, Nico, Mexa Delight. Thank you guys for joining me this week, as always.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, that is the show. Thanks to everyone who joined us live here tonight. And make sure that you guys tune in with us every other Thursday here at twitch.tv/camtastic. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe our videos on YouTube and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Also, We have an Instagram. Forgot to mention that in the intro, but we do have an Instagram. So if you guys like our shorts, make sure you follow us on Instagram as well. Magician, you want to plug that one?
And TikTok. Yeah, so our Instagram, you can find us at in response as one word underscore MTG. And it's you'll see our logo in there as our image. And so right now we've got about 11 videos, but more to come. So if you guys can, just give us a follow on there as well as on our TikTok.
Awesome
Right.
stuff.
And as I mentioned before, our bio site is also linked in our YouTube channel, so that'll be a link to all of our different platforms, so you guys can find us on whatever you find most convenient or enjoy as well.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate all the support. Thank you all so much. And until next time, stay magical.